As the Trump administration seems to crack down and snuff out any legal immigration pathway, Donald Trump hasn't just been ramping up on his verbal attacks against immigrants and immigration. He's been engaging in outright bigoted rants against human beings, immigrants themselves, just before his administration announced that it would pause green card and citizenship applications from 19 countries. Donald Trump went on a public tirade. He called residents of one of those countries, Somalia, quote, garbage. Watch.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks. And we don't want them in our country. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
I'd love to see who clapped at that, right? And if we're going to get rid of the complainers, sign me up. We're going to bring into our coverage Allen Orr. He's an immigration attorney and the former president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Alex is still here as well. I know there is, and I see it with the coverage or lack thereof of his 150 tweets overnight, which if it was a celebrity or an athlete, entertainment media would be focused on it for days. Sports media would be focused on athletes and their mental health for days. Trump says stuff like that, and it's so typical of him, and it's just we call it a mask-off moment or a tirade, but it is deeply unsettling, and it is probably terrifying if you're an immigrant from Somalia right now. What do we do to make people feel safe while he's president?
Well, I think the first thing we do is recognize that rhetoric is trash. That's where the trash is, and it's very un-American, and it's very unpatriotic, and it also undermines our national security. How do people become rationalized or radicalized? When you other them, and he's othering a whole group of people who are United States citizens that were born here. And that's the way you move people away from the fold, and also claiming to have a country. This is our country. Everyone who's here is part of this society and should not be sort of forced out of the system. But once again, these statements also radicalize and put discrimination into immigration. And that's really the plan of sort of sorting out different nationalities to say this entire group of individuals have a problem. I can remember not too long ago, there was a statement made about Republicans, and they all said, oh my God, don't say this about a whole group of people. But he continually does this about a group of individuals, and specifically immigrants, which are the foundation of our country, even his own family. If we look 1 to 2 to 3 generations behind every person in this country, there's an immigrant.
Well, and his problem is clearly, in the first term, he called them shithole countries. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's clearly targeting people of color and communities of color. And I wonder how you represent so many people at one time being targeted by the President of the United States.
So unfortunately, this targeting of people of color isn't new to this society. It's something that we need to resolve and sort of move forward from, of this blaming of others, and specifically black and brown people. And the way that I stand up in our community for that is making sure they know their rights. We may survive this presidency by knowing our rights and being effective in ensuring that these individuals know that just because the president says something doesn't automatically remove them from the ability to have the Constitution. The Constitution is sort of drafted, and it is the text that we will provide our clients with the rights by, and it is not based on color or nationality. And as long as we stay in that text, we can isolate what the president's doing because Congress will not step up and do what they need to do.
But how do you do that if his own Secretary of Homeland Security has shown a willingness to defy a judge's order?
So, I mean, there's a battle between ICE, the federal court, the branches of our government are at war. And it is time for Congress to step up and resolve that war. But in between that, it is also time for the people to say, as we saw in North Carolina, we saw communities stand up and turn away from that issue. So we need people to stand in the gap to say, this is not allowed here. This is not who we are. This is not what we stand for. Because this constant saying that they're criminals, they're rapists, and the numbers don't support that. Where's the evidence and the analysis to go behind and say that these are the problems? So yes, it's difficult. It's always been difficult for minorities in this country, small percentages of people, no matter where you take them from, either social groups or nationalities, who are being blamed for things of a greater class of individuals to stand up. But our society, our Constitution can stand it, and our courts have been there. And while they're overrunning through these courts, the thing that I want to remind people is that lawyers will lose their law degrees, and that the president won't be president for always, and justice will find you no matter where you are after this administration.
Wow. It's also one of a number of issues where he's deeply unpopular, even with self-described Republicans. We'll talk about that. I have to sneak in a quick break first. We'll all be right back on the other side. We're back with Allen and Alex. I mean, Alex, the reality of this is that it doesn't get the coverage that it deserves because of the expanse of it, right? We can focus in and try to tell one story of the terror. There's a 6-year-old child that is right now lost, separated and lost. Child separation was such a scandal that it's actually, I think, the only policy that Donald Trump himself reversed himself on in his first term.
Yeah.
They're doing that in such a scale across from coast to coast, targeting so many communities, sweeping up American citizens. Very few of the people being rounded up are actually guilty of any crimes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some, and that's where the public support is, but the vast majority of people they're deporting have committed the civil offense of being here illegally, and some of them not even that.
Yeah, some of them are American citizens. I think what's really important to contextualize this in the big picture, which is the White House is embracing ethnic cleansing. I mean, that is what is happening here. This is make America white again. And it's sort of by any means necessary. It's under the auspices of immigration reform and getting the garbage out. But it's really about targeting black and brown people and allowing white Afrikaners into the country. I mean, that's literally, those are the priorities of this administration. And they'll find any way in which to do it, whether it is constitutional or not, whether it means gutting the immigration system and firing the judges who adjudicate this stuff and installing people who are more likely to just kick people out en masse, whether it is, bringing in underqualified ICE agents to go and raid cities and communities. They're going to New Orleans today, Charlotte another day. They target black and brown blue cities and the residents in there. And if you're not swept up in the dragnet, they will terrorize you. They will change the way you go to church, how you look over your shoulder when you go to work. This is a wholesale reinvention of the American promise, and it is a redefinition of what it means to be an American. And the answer from this administration is, to be an American and to belong in this country, you need to be white. I mean, 19 countries is a lot of countries, and they are predominantly black and brown countries that the administration is stopping immigration from, and they are some of the most dangerous and difficult places to live. The idea of this country, as it is made physical in the Statue of Liberty, is to give the huddled masses a safe haven. Trump has torn that up. That promise, which is foundational to our country, is something this White House has thrown on the ground and treated in turn like a piece of garbage. And I think it's really important to understand from a 30,000-foot perspective what he is trying to do to reinvent this country.
Well, what's interesting to me is that people don't like it.
Yeah.
And for all of the fear that we've also covered from law firms and universities tripping over themselves to capitulate, they couldn't capitulate fast enough. More people identify themselves as being members of the No Kings movement.
Yeah.
And the first thing that got people out in the streets was protecting their neighbors, protecting their communities. I mean, how do you see the politics laying over this?
Listen, I think, you and I were talking about in this break, there's some sort of viciousness that undergirds, I think, that is probably, if Trump has an organizing principle, it's brutality and viciousness and rage. And it's like guys in the narrative of owning the libs, but he likes the cruelty. And that's why I think he's not giving up on immigration, because he likes calling people garbage. He likes talking about shithole countries. He likes seeing people terrified, even if it's not politically expeditious.
Kristi Noem keeps retweeting it, and they put it
Yes.
to me. I mean, they do at least want the public to think they enjoy what they see.
The cruelty is, as Adam Serwer said, the point. And at a point, it isn't serving him politically. From an economic standpoint, from a political standpoint, you can't gut this country of millions of people who do some very difficult jobs and expect that it's going to stay as it was, nor can you take away the cultural import of having a diverse and inclusive country. That's America. You can't change it overnight without real repercussions.
This conversation to be continued. Thank you for being here today, Alan, Alex. Thank you for your time here today.